Hey, blockchain users. Right now, I am very hyped up because we just saw a very historical move for Bitcoin. Now, I get it. Most people want to see bar like this one on my screen, which is like Bitcoin moves up 15%. But if you're experienced in the market, you know by now that when a bar like that happens, usually it's followed by a correction, which is what happened after it, just sideways and boring action. People get super excited and they make bad decisions because they get emotional. Now, as a technical analysis, I get emotional at the weird moments like this small bar here because basically in my last video I was explaining that the 0.5 fib level around 59 key would be resistance, and it acted as resistance very briefly, and after it got sliced through like it was butter, and we saw a very strong close around 60.5k. Now this is super bullish. Of course it was just a little small move of like, I don't know, 4% up, but in reality, we pierced through important resistance, and we went from a weak position being below our 0.5 fib level to a strong position being above. Now this is great. This means we are probably at the start of a much bigger move. As always though, we need invalidation. I know it's boring, but it's very important because the market doesn't always do what we want, and we have to be prepared. Now, if we move, so basically we had support here. I don't think it's really relevant. So let's move our line here on these old tops because old tops can become new bottoms. And of course, we have our 0.5 fib level. In general, in trading, if you have resistance and it goes above, it becomes support and vice versa. So right now we had resistance there and I can expect support. So for the weekend, probably not going to see too much action. I wouldn't be surprised if this is tested again. So fade a bit, test this. That would be a bullish little correction, and then we'll be ready to move up again. And on the other end, if we see a close below this 0.5 level, below these old tops, that would be our invalidation. And sadly, my hype was not justified. If we see that, we have to, I don't know, cry in a corner and just go back to sideways action. Although in this bearish scenario, I wouldn't expect something dramatic. We've seen a higher low from these 2 points. If we do see a more bearish correction, I would expect a higher low, and again, this is unlikely, but we have to be prepared for everything. Now, let's go to the fun part and look into the resistance for the more bullish scenario. Starting with a blank chart, we are going to add a 0.5 fib level so you better understand my process. Right now, we need two things, an important top and an important bottom. For the top, well, it's kind of an obvious one. It's the all-time high, the peak of the mountain, where the most extreme greed was happening. As for the bottom, again, not quite obvious, is the lowest point we've seen in 6 months, which was, you can think of it as the bottom of a dungeon, the place where people are afraid. It's a low point, not just in terms of price, but also in terms of emotion. You can also see that the volume was higher, meaning that more people were trading, capitulating, and it was just an important moment in the market. Now, we have our 2 points, so we put our price level, and as you can see, we're actually already testing it. There's a small difference of like less than 1%, so in my book it's basically already being tested, and we found resistance there, which is resistance that might be relevant in the next few days, maybe a bit longer. I don't expect it to act as strong resistance, but we have to keep it in mind. Next, we have these stops, which is where we got stopped pretty hard last time that we tried to move out of these lows. So this is our next place. Basically, history repeats in the market. If we saw sellers in the past, well, there are likely to be sellers again. So if we go above our 0.5 fib level, this is the next one. Of course, there are more layers of resistance above than these two, but for now, let's keep things simple. Let's not overcomplicate things. These are the price level that we need to beat. In the next video, I will talk about the next ones. Big Time is up about 82% since I called it on my Discord. I was basically saying that there was unusual volume, and that was likely a signal that smart money was getting involved. So you should join the fund. It's literally free, and we're about to do some degenerate stuff on the Caspa ecosystem. Anyway, so if you've enjoyed this video, do the thing with the YouTube button, and I will see you next time.